Hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. I know, it's going somewhere. Grab anything that you have that you can draw with, write with, pencils, pens, markers, paints, and join me for a little fun. Creating flowers for some of us is not as easy as it looks. As you get older, the agility in your hands and being able to hold a scissor constantly just cutting around all of these shapes, it gets a little difficult. So I wanted to find a way where I can go from this, which I can draw and paint by hand, do whatever I want with these flowers by hand. I wanted to go from this to something where that I can, all I have to do is cut it out, maybe make a few changes, and making it easier for myself so that I can add flowers to whatever I create. So we're going from this to this. I have this little container where I'm collecting a bunch of flowers that I've created. So I just want to show you a few and then take you along on the process on how I create these flowers. So they're all different colors. Gorgeous. You could use different types of mediums to create them. And the thing is, you just pile on the collection, and whenever you need the flowers, you have them there. They're available, different colors. They're beautiful. Look at this. Just made it easier for myself, and I'm bringing you along. So, for those who may be going through the same thing that I am, have an easier way of creating your flowers. This is what I do first. It can be intentional and not intentional. So, these are intentional. These are papers that I basically painted on, dabbed on, made lines, swirls, circles, all different kinds of shapes that I wanted to. These are the papers that I like to collect. This one here is leftover paint from a painting that I was creating. So I take the brushes, any brush, round, flat, fanned out, square top, flat top. Just take them and start doing whatever you want on the paper with that paint, that leftover paint that you have. Don't throw away the paint. And just start creating these type of pictures. You can use sponges, paper towels. Just take the brush and dab. This one I took this brush here that you use for stenciling and just dabbed all over the paper with the leftover paint. Then there's this one. I'm using a longer paper, and it's a variety of copy paper. Some is thicker than the others, some more delicate. Here I just took a brush and made some wavy lines with the different colors. Let them all dry on my table. You can use your heat gun if you want. With other brushes, I'm just going to use this one, but I used all different kind of brushes to create these. And then just make half circles all over the paper and just building up with the different colors. And I know they look plain, and some of them might look drabby and might not be appealing. Use the colors you want, whether they're bright, dark. Cheer up those papers however you want, with lines, scribbles, any way that you want. And this is what I intentionally did with one. And most of these are, well, all these that I'm showing you now are acrylics. Make a rainbow. Just fan those colors over, and a lot of times I did not clean my brush, so I'm getting 2 or 3 colors shading within each other, which I love. This one also, I just took the brush and I swirled on the paper in this manner. And then this one, I took my brush and I made rectangles, squares, rectangles, lines, rectangles, squares all the way down, and then blocked on the outside, and I'm getting this paper here. Love it. You can create anything with any color that you want, and if you don't have paints, use pencils, crayons, markers, whatever you have. And from those papers, I end up with something like this. This was purely black and green leftover paint. So what you can do is build on what you have already and just add those bright colors in there. Here I have, sorry for the the Crayola, I think the Crayola, these are Rose Art colored pencils. I have Micron permanent marker, paint. I have the Papermate flare pens. I have on here the Arteza colored pens also. So if you don't have the markers and you only have crayons, use your crayons. If you don't have crayons and you only have markers, use your markers. And just build. Even someone who thinks they cannot do this, it is simple. I have this paper that I've been brushing paint, leftover paint on. I have my palette with just 3 colors on it. You can use as many as you want or as little as you want. And I have all different kinds of brushes here. And I'm just going to go ahead and show you how I add some of the colors to my papers. With this, there is no reason or rhyme. Let's say, and you're building up, not because you're trying to create a work of art. It's the final product. When you see your own flowers, when you finally cut them out and see what they look like, you'll be a believer. It really works. And the beginner and anybody that wants to do this can do this. Just grab some paper. You can do this on a paper bag. You can do this on newspaper. You can do this on magazine pages, just about anything. So I'm going to take a little bit of white and just scribble on the paper. So let's say you want to add some words to it. So I'm going to add the word flower. And I'm not looking for some beautiful script, because when you cut your flowers out, you're going to be seeing all the bits and pieces within your flowers, and not one flower. Not 2 are alike. Even though you're using the same paper, same colors, you're going to see that each flower looks different. So you can just write just about anything you want. So I put the word flower there. Here I can write the word bouquet. You can write in print. You can write in cursive, or maybe you just want to pretend you are writing Mr. Squiggly. Turn your paper sideways and you can write the word outdoors. And you're just building on your paper and giving it a design, basically. And the process is a lot easier. I don't have a machine where I can cut out big flowers. I do have a Sizzix machine. I'm not sure if it's a Big Shot or not, that my son's gifted me. And that's what I'm using to cut out smaller flowers. So if let's say you want to leave a blotch there, you can leave a blotch anywhere you want. Just make circles. And then the green, you can make leaves. And see how I'm not cleaning my brush, so the colors intermingle. And it's just a fun process. You can take your time. You can make the papers colorful. You can use just several colors if you'd like a more subtle effect on your papers. And it's up to you. And you can actually color the flower, maybe different colors if you want to. It's up to you, because the final product is going to be yours. And it will add, I've mixed green and blue here. Let me see what else I can add here. Okay, let's say I want to do this. You can add circles on there. Make some circles on there. Or I have this, which is a Niagara spray cap. The starch spray that you iron your clothes with. Put some paint on the rim of it. You can add 1 color. You can add 2. Press, and voila. And you make your own circles. Add some white. Let's see, maybe right there. And that one didn't show up too much because it didn't put enough paint, but there you go. Let's add some blue on it. See how it looks. I love this. It is so relaxing. Okay, let me try some more. You could use darker colors if you want to. I'm just going to go with this for now. And you create your own circles on the paper. And the more design you put on your paper, the more you design it, the prettier those flowers are going to be. And you can use, this is from Red Mint Salt. You can use that as a cap. I have a Tylenol bottle cap. I have Pringles potato chips cap. You can use anything that's square shaped. Any shape that you want on there. And look at, see, the more color variety, we have some we all have our taste as far as to how we want what we paint. And I think that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to set that aside to dry, and let's move on to the next step. So I've finished this one, and what I'm going to do is I have leftover paint on my palette, and I'm not going to get rid of that. I'm not going to wash it away. I'm going to actually just brush whatever strokes I want to on my paper. And like I said, when you first look at it, it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. But I'm okay with that because my final products, I'm just building up on it and adding more and more and more to the picture. So let's see here. Let's add some of those. Can do that. And it's just basically giving your paper a bunch of different strokes. See, and it starts to basically take shape. I mean, you can make some lines like this. And just keep building. Building and building. Let's see what else I can do here. As if I were making a raindrop. And you just keep going. And keep building. And adding colors if you choose to. I still have paint and I do not want to get rid of it. So I'm going to add more on this one until I have none left on my palette. If you want to draw a flower on your paper, you can draw a flower. This is all going to show up when you cut out the flowers. If you want to write simple letters, A, Z, write a name. Let's see here. Looks like a donut. I can write the word donut on there. Donut. And it may look like nothing now. Stay till the end. At this point, could I keep adding to my painting? Yes, I can. So what I did was I pulled out a package here from, let me pronounce this right because I usually, it's Inka Dinka Doo stamps, archival ink. And if you so choose, you can add, let's say, if you have stamps and you don't want to draw any squiggly lines, add on your paper some circles. Look at that. This is like a never-ending story. Add whatever you fancy. The more, I say, the more beautiful your flowers are going to be. And I'll just be adding that little for now with the stamps. And not done yet. What if you decided you wanted to add a piece of washi tape on there? Can you do that and still cut out flowers successfully? I had to remove my ring simply because I didn't want to. Let's see here. I don't want to add a lot and I don't want to cover. So let's say you just want to add a little washi up on the top here. Across that. And maybe a little bit going up in this direction. Some stuff always gets covered, but let's say you want to add that little bit of washi, and let's see where the beginning of this one is. Here we go. That's what I do in order to find where it's at. Okay. Maybe you want to add a little black on top of that one. Just to see the designs. The washi also has design on it. So I'm just going to add that little bit. You can add as much as you want, I guess, depending on what you like. And so the next thing would be to actually show you how I make the flowers. And all you need is, I purchased this in the clearance section of Hobby Lobby, thinking that maybe someday I could make magnets out of them. Put a picture. I was thinking of putting a picture of my granddaughter in the Saturn, making a magnet and putting on my refrigerator, but you can use this to make whatever you want. And I thought, bingo, perfect way to make my flowers, since I don't have a machine that will cut them out the size I want it to be. So turn the paper over, put one of these on there. Let's see where that washi is. Okay, I'll do it down here. And trace it. And any scrap that's left over, don't get rid of it, because you can use that also. And then I will make a small one. And I'm going to cut one out for you. And when you cut a flower out, just introduce the scissor, and what you're going to do is you're going to rotate the paper. Oops, I'm glad I didn't tear that. Just rotate the paper. You don't have to, as you can see, I'm not rotating my hand. Just rotate the paper into the scissor. And it's the easiest way so that you're not putting any pressure on your hand, going up and down, sideways, in all directions. You're just keeping it in one firm direction, and you're introducing that paper, twirling the paper within the scissor. Of course, if you want to, you can use your hand if that's a little difficult for you. Just go around the flower. It's still simple. And there's one. Look at this. Sometimes I surprise myself, not because I think I'm wow, good at what I'm doing. I'm surprised at the results of what I've created with what I had. So then what I do now is I take a water bottle cap, and that's going to give me the center of the flower. That's how simple it is to use things that you have lying around. Well, I did in pencil, you can't see it, so let me go over it with a micron pen. And just make that circle. Look at that. I love it. The colors pop out. And like I said, like I mentioned, you can create this as subtle or as vibrant as you want. And these scraps, I get rid of nothing, because these scraps, I can use it in other things that I create. So let me cut this one out, smaller one. And as you can see, I'm not being that perfect as I cut it out. You can always round the edges after you cut the flower out if you feel it's too lopsided, and if you go over the line, but as long as you're rounding it, that's okay. Going around it, that's good. There goes another one. And like I said, when you create two, you're using the same products in the flowers, but look at the total difference in them. I love it. I sat down one day and I decided, what can I do to make life easier for myself? So that when I'm creating flowers and adding them to my Bibles, to my journals, it's easier for me. And I love this. And these pages that you create, you don't only have to make flowers out of them. You can fold a page and use it as a page in a journal. You can make tags, cards, banners, tabs. Just about anything. Use your scraps as a background with some cloth and maybe a word on top. Perfect. You can do just about anything. Look at that. I love it. I think these are the prettiest ones I've got so far. So I am now going to show you a few more papers and my final product. These are more of the papers that I have, so I think I'll just cut out another one so you can get an idea of how it looks. Not perfect in the back, but in the front it'll look like a perfect flower. If you got time on your hands, take some paper, scribble on them, set them aside, and every time you can come back to that same paper and squiggle that paint on it or color a little more on top of it. And there's another flower. Perfect. Same process. My cap. Guess you can use any type of circular object. There's my cap. And if I want, this looks like a heart. I can go with my pen and make it look like a heart right on the flower. This looks like a drop. You can also do that and just give it some character. Add some pretty designs to your flower. Go around this, make it look like an oval. Then you can add this portion so you can actually see the petals. I don't want to draw over that. And then if you want to, you can also go around the outer part of the flower to give the petal definition. So you can actually see the petals. And I'm not trying to be perfect in what I'm creating, although it's nice because when you're sitting down and you're just doing what you want to do, you take your time and you can do that. But look at that. Just a beautiful, simple flower that you can use on what you create in your books or on anything you want. You can add this to if you want to make a card, get a blank card, put a ribbon across it, add a few flowers on it. The flowers don't even have to match. Add a few flowers, stems, little verse, saying, poem, words, whatever you fancy. This is another paper that I've been building on. So while I'm painting something else, I always have paper handy so that I'm taking my brushes at all times and I am just leaving those imprints behind on my papers. Let it dry. Next time, do the same thing. And then once the paper is as I want to see it, when I'm happy with what I've done, I'll take the paper and then start adding the circles and the squiggly lines and the squares, the drops, and maybe just splashes on the paper. And then I draw my flowers on the back. And while I'm watching something or I just have some time on my hands, I'll sit down and I'll cut out the flowers and build my stash that way. That way I'm not left last minute without any flowers. This is another paper I created, and here I was a little more detailed, and there's more white in between, but I'm okay with that. This one also is finished, and what I did with this one too is I add a little stamp here that I got on Amazon. The majority of my stamps are from Amazon, Hobby Lobby, or I've thrifted them. This blotchy thing here. So I added a few of those in my paper. Or I've used this, which has some numbers on it. Writing and smaller numbers. The numbers are right here. And then I've taken and I've just added any little detail. Took the little circles and made them into little flowers. Added anything, just about anything. Let your heart create. Have fun. Just let go on your papers. That's what I do. And I'm no artist. I've taken no art classes. I'm not kidding. I've been a crafter all my life. All my life. I've crafted one thing or another. So that is those papers. And to show you my final product for some of the flowers, I took this one and just drew on it. This one here, I wrote, "The Lord is my salvation," and then in the middle I put Psalm 27:1. This one here, I wrote, "Your word is a lamp unto my feet," Psalm 119, and then I took this bigger stamp, which is a big block, as you can see, sort of dictionary page, from Stampin' Up! And I stamped all over the petals before I actually drew on it. I don't know if you can see that. To give it some, a beautiful character to the flower. And then that Bible verse on it. Also, I took two of the flowers and I sewed a button in the middle. It's gorgeous. I just look at this and I see, wow, when I put them in my books, when I put them in my Bible, in my happy planner, wherever I want to put them. So this one is made out of Paper Studio paper. I have one, this one's Paper Studio, but it's a like a cardstock quality. This is from Stampin' Company. And then I took some of the flowers and actually put polka dots on them. Can add more to these also. Polka dots. This is from a children's book. Love it. And this one was one of the ones I've painted. And this I just used two colors. A light blue and a darker blue. And that is how I create my lovelies. And then you can punch out circles and add a circle in there, an already painted circle in there. You can cut half a flower if you want to, and I just thought of this just now. Let's see which one I can cut. You can take the flower, cut this one in half. Let's pretend this is the journal, and maybe, just maybe, you want it to be some, oh, is it this piece I gotta use then? Half and half. Look at that. Lusciousness. This is my floral bouquet. And that's what I have for you today. Thank you for joining me. God bless you. Have a good one. And I'll see you again. Bye-bye.